Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rockin' Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst, and this is Before the Box Score. Check out the new digs. Yeah, look at that. I moved heavy objects across town, and I'm in a new basement, in an echoey basement now. We'll figure that out at some point. But I'm back. A little break from you all. Hope you all were good. Nathan Hurst and Josh Matica held down the fort, so thank you to you both. Sounds like it was a good show. We got a good show for you up for today. Got a couple commits, got a couple scheduling issues that we can talk about, but typical summer show. Nathan Hurst, how are you doing?
Getting by, just kind of counting the days till I can say 1, 2, 3 Cancun. I can count all the days on one hand. So let's get through this, and I'll be on the beach before I know it.
There you go. Yeah, we don't want this to stop you from a beach vacation, so we'll get to it. It is June 26th as we record this, just as a timestamp in case you're listening to this in the future. Hello, hope it's nice out there. We're going to talk about the rash of commits that Missouri has witnessed, verbal commits going to the team from their summer visits with their camps from this past couple of weeks. Obviously, that was a big visit opportunity, and of course, from big visits, you expect some verbal commits to come out of it, and lo and behold, we got it. I know there has been some hand-wringing about the lack of commitments for Eli Drinkwitz and his staff, especially for a staff that tends to recruit super well. But I think 3 in a handful of days is a pretty good hit rate to start getting people to chill out a little bit. So let's talk about them. We'll talk about them in chronological order. And we want to start with the running back. So we got a guy named Maxwell Warner. He is out of Chicago Whitney Young High School, and appropriately from Chicago, Illinois. Running back, he is 5'10", 185. He's a high 3-star on your 247 composite. I watched his film. He does not look like he's 5'10". He looks like he's about 6'2". And if you watch the highlight tapes, you get some commentary from the local guys. They call him Mr. Inside. Now, if you don't know that reference, back in the 40s, World War II, Army had a Mr. Inside and a Mr. Outside when they ran the triple option for national championships. A big, burly running fullback at that time, and then a speedier running back that hit the outside. And apparently, Maxwell, Mr. Warner, is Mr. Inside, but he's got some scoot to him. What do you think about this commitment, Nathan Hurst?
Yeah, he looks bigger than 6'10" or 5'10". I really like his vision. He seems like a definitely an Eli Drinkwitz zone running scheme, outside zone back. I mean, that's kind of that's why they went after him. That's why they wanted him. I think that's why he found Mizzou to be a place that he wanted to come to. Great vision, good runner. It's always hard speed wise. Again, when watching high school tape to see, like, this guy looks fast. How fast is he actually? I mean, is he fast for Chicago high schools, or is he fast for, fast? So that remains to be seen, but he's plenty fast enough to run up and down the field at will. But what really impressed me more was his vision, his ability to wait for vision and patience, wait for a hole to open. And then once the hole's open, hit it and get a lot of yards.
Yeah. I mean, it's not complicated stuff. I do tend to trust the larger metro areas as far as talent accumulation goes. We'll hit that on the next guy we talk about. I mean, Chicago's got good athletes, man. There's a ton of them, and he's good. His first highlight, if you click on his huddle, the first one is him lowering the shoulder and knocking some kid on the ground, and then continuing the run for a touchdown. But he's a running back and he's a cornerback for Whitney Young. And all of his corner highlights are him blitzing the backside and just absolutely annihilating the quarterback, which is a ton of fun to watch. He does not project as a corner when you get to the college ranks, but still, it's nice to have that skill set. It's fun to see. Blindside blitzes, those are always fun to see. I mean, I don't think this is a kid that needs to contribute right away. Obviously, I see that about most freshmen just because Eli Drinkwitz tends to not play freshmen. And, of course, we have Ahmad Hardy as of now, Jamal Roberts as of now, Marquise, the freshman out of Ohio for now, on top of all the other running backs that we have. Like, it's kind of a stacked room. But, Mizzou running backs under Curtis Looper take off in their second year. And if you have a guy who's in the program for a couple of years before he needs to contribute, I think that's great. Did he remind you of anybody when you watch this tape? Any Mizzou historical running backs that really stood out to you? Like, oh yeah, I see flashes of so and so and how he plays.
Um, I mean, his size reminds me a lot of like Keon Lawrence. I mean, I think he's a little heftier than Keon
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence was. Um, but being 5'10" on the shorter side, maybe a Keon Lawrence, maybe a Devin Moore as
Mm-hmm.
well. Just kind of those shorter sub 6 foot, but still well built running backs. Those have been the
Yeah.
two guys that stuck out to me.
There's a stubbiness to him, which I know I sounds weird because I thought he played really big, but there's also just kind of like a stubbiness. I don't know how to else to put it. Like really short limbs that are moving very fast. It reminding me of Tony Temple, how he'd get really violent with his arms when he ran, kind of like Cody Schrader would do the same thing. But yeah, I'm not saying he's the next incarnate of Tony Temple or Cody Schrader, but yeah, it's I enjoyed watching this film. It was good, and I don't expect him to contribute immediately, but he also doesn't have to, which is really nice. So that's Mr. Warner. Also, very curious. Obviously, these things are not finalized yet, and we'll get to your point in just a second. This is the first sub 1,000 national player that Eli Drinkwitz has recruited since I want to say Sam Williams in 2023. I can't think of the last one. Kind of, I don't know. I mean, again, these rankings aren't finalized yet, but did you notice that? And does that interest you in any capability?
I mean, if you kind of look at all the commits that they have, I'm looking through 247 right now. None of them are 247 4 stars. Now Sidwar is a composite 4 star. Brady's a composite 4 star as well. But the overall ranking of the class to this point, and there's a long way to go, is definitely trending toward the more of the 3 stars. While in the previous couple of years we've been spoiled to more blue chip recruits. I think that is uh, not necessarily by design, in that I'm sure that Drinkwitz is going to take any 4 or 5 star kids that want to come here, but it might be the down the road, um, where down the road in terms of investing dollars in production, investing dollars in if not
Mm-hmm.
just the transfer portal, but also keeping your really good players home and keeping them from leaving. I think that's what we're seeing with this class, where he's certainly bringing in guys that he thinks can play and can contribute, if not their freshman year, then 2-3 years down the road. But he's not breaking the bank on any guys that could play 2 games and then jump, hop. He would much rather hold on to that money and keep it to keep a guy from transferring out who does get on the field and play well, or to bring in a Damon Wilson or a Bo Pribula, or any of those big name guys that they brought in the transfer portal. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing here in terms of the overall recruiting rankings.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I know we've talked about it before, but it does cost money to bring in these guys now, and you kind of have this pattern of kind of lower ranking recruiting year, then 2 big ones, and then a regression, and then 2 big ones and a regression. So, for example, 2020, his first recruiting class, for whatever you want to call it, ranked 54th, right? And then 2021 was 20th, and then 2022 was 12th, and then 2023 32nd, which, mind you, more freshmen from that class played than any other class before it. And then you had in 2024 a 21st ranked class, 2025 a 22nd ranked class. So this is kind of if the cycle continues, this is one that you could expect to be ranked a little lower as far as the recruiting services go. But the last time that happened, we had Marquise Johnson and Brett Norfleet on the field. So I'm not sweating it too much. But
No,
yeah.
and there's something to be said about for bringing in guys that maybe aren't at the top of the top in terms of recruiting rankings, but maybe that allows them to be a little more realistic with, I'm going to come in, I'm going to develop for 2 or 3 years, and then I'm going to see the field in my junior year and be an experienced player by that point, as opposed to coming in expecting to be a starter or at least a key contributor your freshman year. We've got top end guys that we can bring in from the portal to do that. Let's get a few guys in that we can develop, become program guys that will play down the road. One final thing, at least to put a bow on Warner. Do you remember back in 2020, Eli Drinkwitz first hired? He said that there were going to be 3 areas that he was going to recruit from or pull from.
Yep. Yep.
The Denver area,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I believe. I can't remember what the second one was. Perhaps Dallas or at least Missouri, and then the third one was Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I can't remember. I think this might be his first successful Chicago recruit since he said that. Now there might be another one that slipped through the door, but this certainly isn't more than the second or third to bring in from Chicago.
So Valen Erickson was Chicago, and I know he didn't stick around. But I think that might be the only one. I'm going back through here.
Maybe it just took him 6 years to build up that pipeline, and they'll just start coming on down now.
Oh, it's on now. Yeah. Yeah, Valen Erickson. I think that's it. Plenty of East St. Louis, couple Belleville, but no Chicago. So yeah, there you go. Only the second one. No, I remember that clearly. I know BK and I talked at extensive length about how exciting it is. How he's trying to maximize the recruiting pipelines that make the most sense to him, and then he never did it. He got Arden Walker out of Colorado, and
he immediately got Arden Walker, and then he ended up leaving after a couple of years.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, end of Colorado. Not that there's like a plethora of football talent in Colorado. There's enough linemen there to shake a stick at, but whatever. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Second drop in the Chicago pipeline. Let it flow, baby. I'm excited about that. So yeah, let's talk about the second as far as the timeline of when these guys committed. We want to talk about Khalif Canty Jr. He is an offensive tackle by trade, at least in high school. It seems like he projects that way too. He's a 434th ranked player according to the 247 projections. 38th best offensive tackle, 9th best tackle from the state of Michigan. He's from Cass Tech. Mizzou has plumbed that high school for talent before. He is 6'5", 305. I like this guy. But before I tell you why, first, you tell me why. Why do you like this guy?
He's big and he's athletic. He's 6'5", 305, and he still is 17. So he's going to be larger than 6'5", 305 by the time he steps foot on campus a year from now. He's big and he can move. He's not some stiff big man. He definitely can move. I think he might ultimately project as an interior lineman, perhaps a guard down the road. But he can move really well, and especially in Eli Drinkwitz's scheme, that the guards are moving a lot. They're pulling, they're getting out for outside zone. So I think he could fit very well right in that zone. And he's another guy that he can come in without expecting. Maybe he's hoping and pushing to get on the field early, but he can come in expecting, I'm going to get bigger, I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to get better, and by the time my third year rolls around, I'm going to be competing for a starting job.
Yeah, in high school he lined up as tackle, and there's a couple when they did like uneven lines or heavier lines on the left-hand side, and he played more of like an outside guard or an inside tackle, kind of that second man in the middle. He is just big. He's a big dude, and of course these are highlights, so you're not going to see the down to down stuff, but so much of what he does is him just absorbing a man, just grabbing him like a bear and just throwing him on the ground, getting to the second level and just pushing a dude down, and the guy just crumples. I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I like Detroit football team talent. It's good stuff there. They are nasty dudes, and this is a nasty guy. I agree with you. I think there's a lot of traits. He kind of reminds me of a slower Logan Reichert, where Logan's issue was that he was great as a run and run blocking as an offensive tackle. Any of his weaknesses came in pass protection. Not that he was bad. It's just that's kind of the place that he needed to improve the most. You don't see a lot of pass pro really in any offensive line highlight film, but certainly not in this one, just because it's not as fun. So I can't really see his feet, but there's a little bit of lumbering to him that I'm like, oh, maybe you're better on the inside. But that obviously he can get better. Go with Brandon Jones, get taught up, how to do this sort of thing. There's plenty of talented offensive linemen on this team that can help him, teach him that stuff too. He's got the build for it to be just a big offensive lineman in the SEC. He's got the nastiness. He's got the ability to get in there and fight and scrap. And There's worse things than deploying the meanest offensive line in the world. That can get you pretty far, especially at the college level. But yeah, this is another guy that you're not going to see him for a while, and that's true for most offensive linemen. I mean, think about the last offensive lineman that we've had from Detroit specifically. Can you name him?
There's like three names that are coming to my mind, and I'm not sure which one's right, but one of like either Hiron White or Yasir Durant, one of those guys in that era of offensive line.
Yeah, so Yasir Durant was Philly, but the two that I'm thinking of is Larry Borom.
Okay. Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
And then of course Javon Foster. Those two. Now they were
both very, very good college tackles for sure.
They were. And like Larry Borom, that's a Odom guy. So like, he was kind of a square peg in a round hole for a little bit. Odom just recruited the largest offensive lineman he could, right? Because that's what the Heupel system is. Offensive linemen get in the way so that your passing game can click. But Borom actually turned into like a legit tackle. He started as an interior lineman and he worked his way out, and he got drafted as a tackle. And Javon Foster was always a tackle, but like he was just a big dude who needed just a little bit of polish, and he got it. And he turned into an NFL caliber offensive tackle. And so, Detroit's done well for Mizzou in the past, obviously recently with those two, especially on the offensive line. But what you are in high school, especially as an offensive lineman, is not what you're going to be in college. There's just so much development that happens at that point. But you look at the tape and you see what you can see, and I think there's definitely some things he can improve. You can tell why he's a 3-star, but also he's a 3-star. Like they say, this dude is going to be a starter at a power program. Like maybe not now, but he will. So it's a good addition. I'm excited about that one. We'll see him in 3 years. That's just one of those kind of projects. And then to wrap it up, as far as the recruiting stuff goes, just yesterday on the 25th, Mizzou got a commitment, a nasty wideout, right? You saw the bat signal from Eli, and you saw the bat signal from Jacob Peeler. Is it Devion or Devion Hill-Lomax?
Devion would be my best guess.
Yeah, Devion Hill-Lomax, wide receiver, Edwardsville, Illinois, so just across the river. He is the 146th ranked wide receiver, according to 24/7. 20th best player available in Illinois. He goes to Edwardsville High School. He is 6'4", and 180 pounds. Yeah. How do you feel about Mr. Hill-Lomax?
Watching his tape reminds me a lot of one of my favorite Mizzou Tigers ever, Denario Alexander, in terms of his build. Tall, not the thickest guy, a little skinny, can run really well when he gets those long legs running. Now he's got a long way to go to even to match Denario's Mizzou career, but that's the comp that I would put on in terms of what of his build, his body type, his playing style. And if he can be half the player that Denario ended up being, he's going to be a really good addition to this class.
Yeah, and he plays basketball too. That's a little shades of Justin Gage there for all you old heads. Yeah, I like him. He's really skinny. He's really skinny right now, I should say.
He's 17. Get 15 more pounds on him.
Yeah,
who knows? He could easily grow another inch too before it's all is said and done. Get a few more pounds on him. Get him into the SEC weightlifting and dietary programs, and I think he's going to fill out to be a guy that you can get on the field earlier than you think.
I can do the Patton and Nate Edwards Dirty Dobbs diet, right? And get out there and pack it on. But yeah, so like him and Isaac Jensen, who I know you guys talked about last show, just big targets, right? Taller, arms that are like twice your height. Just one of those guys that's like, just put it up. And it's not really a receiver type that Mizzou has targeted a lot, or maybe not targeted, but just brought in a lot. You obviously, Drinkwitz loved the gadgety slot guys in the beginning of his coaching career here. He really likes the speedier 6'1" guys. You see a couple 6'3", 6'4", like your Towski Doves, Kiki Chisholm, Obviously, Theo Weiss. Now Theo was 6'2", but he was a bigger possession receiver. You don't see them target possession receivers as much, and this guy really seems to be that. Now he's 180, so he's pretty light. He's got good speed, especially for his height, and yeah, who knows how that's going to be altered as he goes on. If he wants to be Denario, yeah, I'm all about that. No one's going to stop you, bro. I like that a lot. But you just, Illinois got good talent even in the southern central part, but I need to see it. I need to see a little bit more before I have any shades of glory for this guy. But I like that we're targeting bigger receivers. I like having that option on the roster. I like having that spot available. Mizzou has been bereft of classical Z receivers, and I like that they're targeting a guy who can be that.
Yeah, it's nice to have a diversity of talent that you can go to at different points in the game. If you're relying on a bunch of 5'11", 6-foot slot guys, there's only so much you can do. But if you've got big guys, small guys, middle guys, fast guys, quick guys, slow but steady guys, if you've got a whole menu of different talents you can pull from, then you can really keep a defense on their heels because they're not really going to know what to expect at any given play.
Yeah. So that's what we got so far. It's in the modern college game. It seems like high schoolers really like to get this decision over with before they get to their senior year. But obviously there's always going to be guys who hold out a little bit longer, make their decision later. And there's going to be ones that explode in their senior year. But I think coaches like to get this over with too, because they need to focus on the portal and who they can pull away from existing teams and fill out and figure out what they have on their roster. So it's still important, guys. It just seems like every time Missouri football recruiting gets brought up on the internet, there's somebody saying it doesn't matter anymore. And I get it, that you're talking about a team whose staff has done really well in the portal. They also recruit really well. But we seem to have transitioned more to the portal wins. It's like, oh, well, we'll get them out of the portal. And that's true. That's absolutely true. I like that. But you still need to bring in a recruiting class. Okay. Even if it's a bunch of 3 stars, you still need to bring them in because you're going to lose, a 10th of your roster to portaling, depending on the season. And you need to have younger talent who's been on campus and can, fill in. You can bring in transfers, but much like a freshman, it takes them like a second year to see that leap. And if you keep relying on portal transfers, you're just going to be pulling from an emptying well. And that's not going to be good. So recruiting is still important. The teams that were in the playoff this year, most of them were blue chip ratio teams who recruit at elite levels. And I think that's going to stay the case. So this is probably going to be a downer or a lower ranked recruiting class just because that's kind of how the cycle works for Mizzou recruiting, but it is still important. You still need to bring in guys. And yeah, if you don't get them, you'll get them in the portal, but also bring in some high school guys. Is there anybody else? Who else are we on recruit watch for? I can't remember who else is one of them pushed him back to the 8th or something like that.
Yeah, there was one that was I can't remember his name, was going to commit a couple days ago and decided to push back a couple weeks for who knows why. I think he just wants to have a big ceremony instead of just putting it out there on Twitter. So, whatever. That's great for him. I know that the Mizzou's been bringing in the last several weekends. They've had 15, 20 guys in on official visits. So there's going to be another string of recruits here or commitments here in the next week or two. I have to think. I bet by the next time we get together, there'll be at least 3 or 4 more guys that have hopped on board the train.
Yeah, Javonte Smith is the guy. July 8th. Yeah. After prayer, thoughtful consideration, and talks with my family, I've decided to move my commitment date to Tuesday, July 8th, so he can be with his teammates.
Sounds great. Maybe he just wants to shoot off fireworks before he can make his decision.
Yeah, just don't pull a JPP, please. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the news item of the day. I have not really been able to see what the hullabaloo is from the peanut gallery, but the big news actually out of Illinois side of football is that the 8-game series that Missouri and Illinois agreed to on football has been reduced to 6. So they are removing the 2026 Missouri-Illinois game and the 2032 Missouri-Illinois game. Now, they keep the other 6. There is a home-and-home element. There is neutral site elements to it. It's still going to happen. It's just those 2 in particular are not. Thoughts? Go ahead.
I mean, disappointing because I was very much excited about this. I mean, the rivalry will still be renewed, but playing the same rival team every year for a long stretch of time very much appealed to me. So that's disappointing. Also, kind of intrigued because both games that were knocked off the schedule were Illinois home games. So now it's both 2026 and 2032. Both of those were scheduled to be in Champaign, which means now the first time that the 2 teams will meet is 2027 in Columbia. Then in 2028, they'll meet in Champaign. And then 2029, they will meet back in Columbia. 2030, they actually don't play in 2030 because Colorado sneaks in as the kind of Power 5, Power 4 non-conference team. And then on 2031, they also don't play. They play Colorado and Kansas that year. So then they're back in 2023. Then 32, they don't play. Then 33, they do play again back in Columbia, I think. So they took, at least for the first stretch of games, they took 2 of the 3 games scheduled to be in Champaign out. So now there are 2 games in Columbia, or actually 3 games in Columbia, 1 game in Champaign as it sits now, which is very strange, which makes me think one of 2 things, maybe both are true. I'm not sure. First, this was Illinois wanting to cut these games off rather than Mizzou because they're losing 2 home games on their end. I can't think that if Mizzou came to them saying, hey, we don't want to play these games, they're not going to say, yeah, but we can cut games, but we're not going to cut ones that we're hosting. Unless Mizzou's buying them out, which that news will come out in the wash if that were to happen. But I don't see that happening. So the first thought was that, oh, maybe Mizzou went out because the SEC is going to go to nine regular season games and they need to cut out a non-conference game, which makes sense, except that they're cutting out those games in Champaign, which doesn't make sense. Because Illinois, as I said, Mizzou would have to pay a hefty buyout fee if they were going to cut, if those were the games they were going to cut. Or why not just take those games, put them into 2035 or whatever, when the schedule's not complete yet, and keep that as one of the 3 non-conference games. So the one thing I am sure of is that we're going to find out more about this as time goes on. Whenever, I'm sure the next time Drinkwitz is in front of a microphone or Laird Veach is in front of a microphone, they're going to be asked, or I hope they are asked that question as far as what was going on there. But I have to think there's going to be something more coming out, whether that means even more games are going to be cut, but these are just the first 2 that we found out, or they're going to be moved, or what. It just, there's a lot of questions there. The one thing that is nice though is that in 2026, next year, Mizzou had on the schedule playing at Kansas and at Illinois, which was very strange. I don't know which AD was in chair. I think Jim Sturk probably when those were scheduled, but that was not smart. So that is good. That is a good thing for Mizzou in terms of not having 2 road Power 4 teams, both programs seem to be on the up and up. Trending upwards, shall we say, at least in the current moment. So that's a positive. But all in all, I would much rather play Illinois than not play Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also team play winnable games.
Yeah,
and
to be fair, most of the time when Mizzou plays Illinois, it's a winnable game.
Look, it has been for the past 20 years, right? They've not lost him since the second Bush administration.
Kurt Kittner's like 1999 game or 2000 or whenever that. It was the year before Brad Smith started. Played, so I want to say 1999.
Let's look things up on the internet during the podcast. That's smart. Okay, here we go. Last Illinois win was 1994.
94. Wow. Even
Yeah.
farther back. Yeah. So
42-0 in Champaign. That was a Larry Smith special. Yeah. Yeah, that was the last one. So I was 8. Yeah. Boy, I would not have guessed this. I'm assuming you are not a Illinois football historian, but I want to ask you anyway. Do you know who the coach of Illinois was in 1994?
94. Sounds like it'd be a notable name. Part of me would want to guess John Makovic, but I think he was at Tech. He was just getting fired at Texas at that point. So I don't know who else it would be.
It'd be a gentleman named Lou Tepper.
Lou Tepper. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't ring any bells for me.
Does not ring a bell for me either. Again, not a Louisville football guy. He played for Rutgers. He was a defensive back in the 60s, it looks like. And he was coach at Illinois from 91 to 96. He was 25, 31, and 2. And he replaced John Makovic, looks like.
So I guess I had it backwards. Makovic went from Illinois to Texas. That's right, because then he went from Texas to Arizona, which was a very strange.
That is very strange. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Mr. Tepper was a football coach until 2010, where he coached at some place called IUP.
Oh yeah, Indiana University. Purdue.
Oh yeah, Pennsylvania. Yeah, Crimson Hawks. Go Crimson Hawks. Yeah, cool. Anyway, 94. So the first Clinton administration. That's the last time Mizzou lost to Illinois. They are 17-7 against the Illini who fight. But yeah, I mean, I like winnable games. I know a lot of people like entertaining games, and I do like those too. I just don't want a ton of them on the schedule. There's enough in the SEC as it is. And seeing that we were going to be playing Kansas and Illinois in the same year, both of them on the road, I was very excited to see 26 get thrown out. Now, I would have liked to see it moved to something else instead of just completely detonated. But my thought went to you, playoff, right? Playoff. You're in the Big Ten and you're in the SEC. You don't really need a resume. You just need wins, frankly. And if you can get that in the non-con, and then be respectable in your respective conference, then yeah, there you go. You probably get an invite to the playoff. I think that's what Illinois had in mind, frankly, and I think that helps Mizzou too. Now, if they replace that with like Boston College again or some nonsensical East Coast power team, then I'd be very upset. But whatever.
They already have an FCS team on the schedule for 2026. Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Okay, APB.
The Kansas game is in Lawrence, and then a strangely scheduled date. I guess we jumped into the Sun Belt Saturdays or whatever, but November 21st, 2026, they play Troy, which as G5 teams go is one of the better ones.
It was for a while, not last year.
They did take a step back last year after losing their coach, but they have had multiple good runs with multiple different coaches. So we'll see where they end up. So I would imagine they can't add another FCS team. They'll find, unless SEC goes to, they're probably going to hold off on scheduling something until the SEC decides whether or not they're going to go to 9 conference games or not. As you said, that does make it easier for that. They won't have to buy out any more games for that 9 conference game schedule to take place.
Yeah, I'm team don't play Troy. Just FYI. If you all don't remember, and it's fine if you've completely blacked it out from your memory, 2004, one of the most hyped Missouri seasons of my life, went into a thuddening fall at the hands of the Trojans. And who was the defensive end?
DeMarcus Ware.
Ware.
Went on to prove that he would be why he was going to be a Hall of Famer.
He Hall of Famed it up on us. And Troy won 24-14. Now that was in Troy, Alabama. Missouri won the next year. But then we played Troy in 2019, and that is when both, number one, Cale Garrett tore his pec, and number two, Kelly Bryant got landed on and left the game due to injury and was never really the same after that. I'm team don't play Troy. Good things do not happen. I'm sorry. They don't.
let's pick up a different G5 team and then drop Troy. That's what you're saying. If SEC goes to nine games in 26.
I would rather play the USC Trojans than the Troy Trojans. Just that's where I stand.
Yeah, at least there's stakes to the USC ones.
There is, at least in the Edwards household. Yeah, okay. So we'll see what happens. But Missouri's got an open date. And yes, I would wait a little bit to fill that out. Obviously, dance cards get punched up pretty quick to a ludicrous degree. But let's keep it open for a little bit. Let's figure out what the schedule's going to look like. How are you feeling about Mizzou football? It's June 26th, like we said. We got 12 weeks away from kickoff. How are you feeling?
Not a whole lot different than I was back in January. I think when after the winter portal had come and gone. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic that this is a competitive team. That this is I've kind of had the expectation of an 8-4 as an acceptable record for the program at its stage and what it's returning and what it's losing. So I'm kind of holding that. I'm thinking like if this is as of now an 8-4 squad, pending what the offense looks like, and we're not going to really know for sure till the second week of the season. But if the offense takes a step back, even from the poor performance they had last year, which I expect it to do because of the amount of turnover they've had, 7-5, 8-4 that's kind of what this squad looks like.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri was very lucky last year. Let's call it what it was. They won 10 games. They absolutely won 10 games. I know they did, but the way that they played, they're viewed more as a 7-win team, maybe an 8-win team if you choose to round up. Like that was the caliber of team that they put out on the field, and they won 10 games anyway because there's a horseshoe square up Eli Drinkwitz's ass that only falls out every once in a while. I was asked to go on Texags a couple of days ago, and David Nuno was talking about, asking about the offense and how I feel about it. And I was with you. I was like, dude, this is an 8-4 team. Not only is there just regression to the mean as far as one-score wins go, as far as luck goes, but there's question marks at every level of the offense. Quarterback, transfer. Running back, transfer. 3 of your offensive line, transfers. Best wide receiver, transfer. Tight end, well, you still got your tight end. But he was injured last year. There's just too many questions. I think you can default to 8-4, 7-5, 8-4. And I would be good with that. We are overdue for a fallback at this point. And maybe Eli Drinkwitz is the coach that bucks that trend and says, no, the lucky horseshoe stays up the butt and we can keep winning 10 games year after year. And that would be great. I would love to be wrong. I get this feeling of 8 wins. Just because I don't know what the offense is going to look like. I feel like it's going to regress. I feel like we're going to be in just another year of defensive slugfests that are going to have to be won late. And I don't know if we have the quarterback for it. And if we do, then perfect. I feel better. But I just don't know. And until you figure it out, I'm good with 8. I'm good there.
A lot of unknowns. The home wins that were should have been easy, but weren't as easy last year. Are now road games. So Vanderbilt on the road. That's not going to be an
Arkansas
easy game.
On the road.
It wasn't last year. Arkansas on the road. Auburn on the road. And then, the home games
Oklahoma.
are now much harder. Oklahoma on the road, of course. I mean, you have Alabama, A&M coming here. Most likely not going to win either of those games. At Oklahoma, most likely not going to win that game. And then one of those 3 road games, Vanderbilt, Auburn, Arkansas, if they sweep those 3 games, you're looking at a 9-3 team.
Yes.
The chances of them doing that are very, very slim. I think that's much more likely they go 1-2 in those games. And then you're looking at, got to beat Mississippi State at home, got to beat South Carolina at home, which are doable. But South Carolina's going to be good. So, they're going to be a good team. So.
I don't want to crap on this season. I don't want you to not get excited about it because I truly am. Be prepared to lose to Vanderbilt. Yeah. Just be prepared.
I'm kind of expecting that to be a loss at this point. We'll see how the season starts, but
I have penciled in a loss for that game. They return, not only do they return Diego Pavia, which is really all you need, and Jerry Kill, but they return everybody. they had so few losses from their roster. I was still 20 guys, but none of them played. And they brought in a great D3 receiver who does everything. He's like Jeremy Maclin, D3 Jeremy Maclin. And they add that to Eli Stowers, Diego Pavia, and Cedric Alexander. Like, dude, we're going to lose to Vanderbilt's going to win some games, and they're probably going to beat Missouri. Just prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. That's all I'm saying. So on that happy note, say something nice, please. I can't.
We're only 9 weeks from college football. Is that good? Is that right? They would make that number up. I think 9 weeks. I think it's 9 or 10.
We got all of July, all of August. No, wait, August 31st. Is that week 0?
August 28th is Mizzou's first game.
That's right.
On Thursday. So that's 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Yeah. No, we're 9 weeks away from college football. So we're in the single digits of weeks. There you go.
Damn, look at that.
The new college football video game comes out in 2 weeks. That's another positive.
Look, man, no. So I'm going to be a brat. They didn't put my last name on the cover. I'm not going to buy it. Yeah. It was right there. That was a Michigan jersey, but it had my last name on the cover. It was meant to be. And now they didn't do it. So screw them. It's an easy fix, EA. Yeah. If you want my $80, just change that and I'll do it. I'll buy it. I have heard it's like more of a patch to last year's game than anything else, but I feel like that's kind of sports games in general. Yeah. So we'll see. Here's what you do. You buy it and you tell me if it's worth it, and then I'll buy it.
As far as I know, they're updating the formation subs, so you can now actually change who's playing for formation, which is the one thing I really wanted and thought was lacking in last year's game. So if that's the case and that's updated and new rosters, I'm good. Last year's game was good enough. So if that's all they improved, I'll be happy with it. I
do want to see video game Eli Drinkwitz. Oh, he's going to be such a nerd.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see how much they play up the nerd. Because I've seen a couple of the other renditions of coaches and they're not flattering. So I'm very
curious. The Lane Kiffin one is not good. It's not good. And all the animations are the animations that you have in this year's game. So like the one where they like move their hands. I know this is not a visual medium, but like the one where the coach is like talking to a player and like moving his hands like forward. I'm like, oh, you didn't update the animations? Like, okay, well, whatever. I guess that's a patch.
I hope they just have Drinkwitz taking off his visor and just doing this. That's just kind of his angry thing. If you're just listening, I'm waving my hat across the screen.
Yeah,
that's kind of.
Or when he goes, "Hey, Mississippi State, if you don't shut the F up, I'm going to score on you." Man, no, Eli. Well, anyway, okay, yeah. So college football video games around the corner, and the season's closest it's ever been. So there you go. But yeah, that's gonna be the show for today. You're welcome. We're back. I'm not going anywhere. But we always appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment or you can rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Nate G. Edwards. He's at Burst to Hearst. And of course, you can follow the Rock M flagship at Rock M Nation and our podcasting outlet at Rock M Radio. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.